Hi, I'm Marcin, and while you're ahead of the Spar Craic 10K 2026, we wanted to interview some of the giants of the local running scene. And among those is the legendary Davie Seaton, who had a key role in the establishment of the Spar Craic 10K. And without him, there would not be a run across Belfast on the St. Patrick's Day. So, Davie, thanks for coming on this short podcast, which is trying to build that community of runners even more. But I want you to tell people who is Davie Seaton, and I think you've been involved in running now. I would say it's certainly 2 decades, maybe three, maybe four, maybe five, maybe six. This may be your seventh decade of involvement. So tell us a little bit about Davie Seaton and how you got involved in running as a schoolboy.
Well, I'm 80 now. I'll be 81 in a few years. I started
Congratulations.
when I was at Inst, second year. It would have been probably 12 or 13. Now, I had run previously before that at the primary schools, with Strongtown Primary School in East Belfast, and ran in the Cubs and things like that. But it was really only when I got to Inst that I started to run. Running wasn't very fashionable. Inst, as you know, it was probably really, if you were a rugby player, you were in, hockey player, cricket player. Running, cross-country running was almost a poor relation. But anyway, we entered teams in various races, and I had a sort of reasonable success as a 15 or 14-year-old. I think it was
Was
15.
there a teacher who encouraged you in that, Davie? What made you stay the course? Because young people go from sport. Who encouraged you to stay with running?
Well, it wasn't in the school that actually were instrumental in me staying in it. I was born in Huddersfield in Yorkshire, and when we were in Northern Ireland, I was very young. But there was a great runner called Derek Ibbotson, who was also from Huddersfield, and he broke
Wow.
the mile world record when I was a young, I think it was
Okay.
1957. I was impressionable. I can remember as well, we were at Clockey for holidays. Those are the years. Sure, you were the same. Nobody went to Mallorca or Tenerife or anything. You know money. If you got to Malile or Clockey
Yeah.
or Porto, you were doing well. We were down at Clockey, and I remember watching that race, and that inspired me, particularly how well he ran and the fact that he was from the same town as I was. And I think that sort of lit the spark in me. And I never really looked back after that. I still continued to play football and played a bit of rugby. In those days, you could have played football in the morning, run in the afternoon. One wasn't exclusive. So that's how I really got into it.
So I spent my holidays in the early 70s when Belfast was in flames in Bangor every year at the Picky Pool and at
Really?
the
Uh-huh.
Barry's amusements.
Uh-huh.
But you're a Bangor man who transplanted yourself to North Belfast. So tell us that. How did that happen?
No, well, I was at Inst. In those days, you either ran for a school or you ran for a club. There was no dual sort of responsibility in those days. So anyway, there was a pal of mine, a fellow called Brian Boyd, and when I didn't go on to university. I left at sixth form, and Brian, he lived in the Old Park Road, Cliftonville Road area. He belonged to North Belfast Harriers, and he said to me, "Why don't you come up and join our club?" Now, to tell you the truth, I'd hardly been over the Queen's Bridge. Well, it was, I tell a lie, I would have gone to Windsor Park to watch Linfield, or gone to Grosvenor Park. My
Hmm.
dad was from up around that direction to watch Distillery.
Yeah.
But I didn't know anything about North Belfast at all. I don't think I'd ever been there. But I went up, met him, went up there, was 17. I just started as a junior clerk in the Commercial Union Insurance Company. I went up there and I never looked back. They were a great bunch of guys, very diverse. Half of them are from Ardoyne, which is just down the road, and the other half basically were from the Shankill Road. So very, very, a lovely mix of guys. There was a few of us who were blow-ins from other bits of Belfast, but primarily that's where we drew our membership from. And I was made to feel welcome the first day I went through the door at Old Park Terrace there.
And very working class communities, which
Oh,
may have been a bit of an education.
very, very much. I mean, there was. I think there were only two of us had a grammar school education. There was a couple of boys from St Malachy's, self and Boyd, and there was a few, but very, 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 very much a working class. But that didn't fuss me in one bit, and I just fitted in, and we took it from there. But they were honest guys, some good runners, but as you say, working class. Wasn't all that much money about, but a lot of them, and but we all mucked in together, and we formed a very, very good team. I was
And
lucky.
And to divert just a bit, why has North Belfast Harriers continued to prosper all those years later? Because it's hard to keep anything to maintain longevity. But did you see even then the seeds of its resilience and success?
Well, I came in, there was a lot of oil hands, as they call them in those days, and they talked about the old days and that there was a history to it. And I had 25 very, very happy years there. The only reason I left was that my daughter, we were living in Bangor at that stage, my daughter wanted to run, and believe it or not, she was only about 8 or 9. North Belfast in those days did not permit ladies to come into it. Now,
Wow,
it seems so
unbelievable.
strange now when you think of Gladys Gagnon and all these top runners that they've got. So anyway, in those days, you weren't
Which
allowed
year?
girls.
What year period are we talking now,
My
Davy, where
daughter was,
women still weren't allowed to run?
we're in the, my daughter was born 79. That would have been the mid 80s. So
Oh
Judy,
my, oh
she
my.
wanted to run. We were living in Bangor. So there was a North Down club. So I couldn't sort of send her there, not go myself. We didn't have all that many officials or coaches. So it was a job lot. Judy went and I went. I left North Belfast, not certainly under a cloud, far from it. Always been welcome back. Wish the guys good luck. So at that stage, it was going very, very well, and it continued to go. People like Matt Shields come in. Matt, as you know, is
Mm,
a good mover, and both as a runner and as an organizer. So the likes of Matt come in, a few other fellas come in, and that just sort of allowed the club to progress as it has today. And it's one of the leading clubs. I love to see them doing well. Obviously, my own
mm.
club's North Down. I like to see them doing better. But oh no, North Belfast been a wonderful club. They opened the doors to girls after that, and you know the history of it yourself.
But so you've also seen in because in my lifetime when I was
Mm.
at school, we played for Christian Brothers, played a little bit of Gaelic. I was never any good
Uh,
at played a little bit, but there was
uh,
no girls Gaelic, no women's Gaelic, and
no.
yet that has transformed
Uh-huh.
society. So you've
Uh-huh.
seen women come into the sport, but the other thing you've seen is when
Mm.
you were a member of North Belfast Harriers, and I presume we're talking 60s, Davy.
Was
We
it?
talking 60s, 70s, 80s.
I was there from 60 to 1962. I was there for
Well done.
25 years, so the
Well done.
1987.
Okay, but the other changes you have seen today
Right.
is you would see people running from the North Belfast Harriers who
Mm.
might take them 40 minutes to do a 5K park run.
Uh,
You've seen, because certainly when I was at school and a young man,
uh,
there was no suggestion you would join the Beachmount Harriers if you weren't able to
uh,
really, try to be a top runner. But you've seen this change as well over recent years that if anybody wants to have a go, North Belfast Harriers is one of the many clubs that says, come in, join us.
Oh, that's it. If in fact you can put one foot in front of the other, that's it. But as you say, in those days, you had to be, to use a term, a half decent runner. Otherwise, you felt that you wouldn't fit into the place. Now, in those days, we had a fast pack, an intermediate pack, and a slow pack. And it was what was considered a slow pack there, it wouldn't be considered slow now because some of those fellas were halfway or 3/4 way up the field in a park
Yeah,
run.
yeah,
But
yeah.
but that was the situation in those days. But guys came in who weren't all that fast, and just with a bit of coaching and proper training and that, they suddenly improved. So it's one of those sports that you can improve. I mean, you're either a footballer or you're not a footballer. You can almost tell at 12 or 14 a wee lad's going to be a good player. But in athletics, particularly long distance running, you do not know. Some people with dedication, hard work, and commitment can come from nowhere to number one, really.
But what is the running mentality that enables these great running clubs to welcome people? Because of all sizes, shapes,
Hmm.
people who come in really
Hmm.
overweight, maybe have to walk their first park run.
Uh,
I mean, that's a great inclusive mentality, which maybe people don't associate with high level sports. But
uh,
it seems to me that runners just are very happy to see that.
It is. It is. It's a very, very. It's a community which is friendly. And I think the natural thing is if a stranger comes in, what's the word? You don't say you're strangers, just friends we don't recognise. It's that
Yeah.
sort of the situation. So somebody comes, you get nice guy in the club or nice girl in the club. He welcomes them, gives his name, who are you, and that tells them what's happening. Look, we're meeting on Monday or Tuesday or Thursday, or we're racing at Ballyclare on Saturday. Tell you what, I'll pick you up at the leisure centre at 12 o'clock and we'll go down, all that sort of thing. If you're made to feel welcome, as I was when I went into North Belfast, as soon as I went through the door, I felt welcome. And this is what's happening in these other clubs, these jogging clubs and running clubs and general sports clubs, basically.
So you mentioned the word community. Now you competed at a
Mhm.
high level. You competed for Northern Ireland at the
Right.
Commonwealth Games. You managed the Northern Ireland cross country team, which meant you got to travel a
Mhm.
lot.
Mhm.
Was that a community as well, like a high level sporting community? Is that one of the great pleasures of it?
It was. Well, when I managed Seaton, I didn't go to Commonwealth Games as a competitor.
Yeah,
I was a spectator.
yeah.
But no, I managed managed international cross country. We had diverse guys. I remember in one of the trips, I was either to Italy or was it Italy or Portugal? One of the young fellas, he was from an orphanage up in Derry, and he had never been on a plane in his life. And I can remember us checking in at Aldergrove, and he put his bag there. And he walked on. I said, Jerry, where's your bag? You see, he thought I was going to the plane from that. He had never
Wow.
experienced anything like that. And yet, with other fellas who were, doing PhDs at Queen's and different things, it was a wide ranging team that you took away. But strangely, all the guys got together. They did very well. They met people from other countries. African nations were just starting to emerge at that stage, the Kenyans, the Ethiopians. So our guys were starting to rub shoulders with people who they would have seen on television in those days, run from Crystal Palace and one thing and another.
So how important was athletics in Northern Ireland for you and to stay involved? Why did you not just go out to seed and forget about all this and put on 5 or 6 stone and forget about running? But why did you stay involved all these years later? You're at least 68 years involved. Are you 68 years involved now?
Uh,
But why
uh,
did you stay involved? What's the big passion?
I just love it. As a pal of mine, Norman Bissett, who's well known at it, he and I would say it's a disease that we have got. It's all you can't get away from it. And I mean, I'm now my son's running, my daughter's running, my 2 wee grandsons are run. They
Mhm.
run quite well. One won the under 10 Northern Ireland Ulster Championship. Other won the under 11. So that is coming through in our family. So I'm so glad to see that sort of a situation that I'll be hooked for a while. Now, they could in 2 years say, I'm forgetting about it. But at the moment, they're very enthusiastic. We have a lot of young guys down here in Bangor. There's a group, I'm part of one of the coaches, 3 or 4 of us who coach the sort of under 13s and that. And it's just good to see those children develop as athletes, but more importantly, to develop as people. So the wee
Yeah.
guy from Ballyholme comes along. He's never seen the wee fella from St Malachy's, and the wee lad from Bloomfield. And all of a sudden, they're getting together, and it helps their interpersonal skills. It also helps them develop as people and as athletes. And it's lovely for us as our lads to see that sort of thing.
So you're talking about community, you're talking about people, development of people reaching their full potential. But in the
Uh,
midst of all that, in
mhm.
2010, Matt Shields brought the park run. So what difference has the park run phenomenon made to the sport that you love?
Absolutely brilliant. That's it. I mean, 100% behind Matt and what he has done, and it has gone as he's further and further. All sorts of guys who, on a Saturday morning at 9:30, would have been lying in their bed, not knowing what they were going to do. Those fellas are around. They're running around Crawfordsburn or Falls Park, or they're up in
Yeah,
Derry or down in Omer, or whatever it
yeah.
might be. And the interesting thing, more and more females are now entering into it. I mean, I can remember the first Belfast Marathon was involved 1982, and there was, I think, 3% of the participants were female. Now it's
Wow,
50-50. That's one of the
wow.
biggest changes that I have seen. You look back at those old films, old footage,
Yeah.
3%.
Oh man. So I just ran with Marty Dean over the new year,
Uh-huh.
and of
Oh,
course
good.
he's
Aye.
he's he's, st he's still in great shape. But he
Uh-huh.
won that marathon 1982
Uh-huh.
in 2 hours 15, which is
Uh-huh.
astonishing time. And then I
Uh-huh.
ran with Matt Shields at the Queen's Park run
Uh-huh.
on
Uh-huh.
Saturday. So I'm working my way through legends. But
Yep.
so the question for you is, are you still running?
Well, I had 2 major illnesses about 5 years ago, and that put paid to me running. I'm still involved to the extent that well, it's more an administration coaching game, but I used to be able to run sort of fairly quickly. Then I got slower and slower, and then it was had to go down. I had to jog, and now I walk. So I walked Bangor Park run
Good
on
for you.
Saturday. I was not going to
Oh,
give up. So there was 350 competitors, and I was 345th.
Well, but
But there was
that's fantastic.
five people behind me. But I was walking. I woke up on Saturday morning and I thought, well, I'll just walk this. And you could be landing the Ulster Hospital or the Royal Hospital, delighted to be walking 3 laps of Ward Park. So you have to take the chance when you can, because so many of my pals are sick, ill, or dead, and you're so glad to be able to do something. As I say, if you can't. Years ago, you'd have gone around. I mean, I would have run under 15 minutes for 5K, and now I'm walking it in like 55 minutes. But you're still doing it, and that's the important thing.
So I haven't been in Ward Park since I was in holiday in Bangor in 1973.
Right.
Would you invite me back and we'll
You,
walk out to walk the
you,
park run there?
you'd be very welcome. They'd love to see you. And I don't know how many votes you'd get down here, mind you.
Well, it's
Get what?
such a beautiful
Gonna
part
get
of the world.
beautiful part of the world. I think I could get you to walk with a few alliance people in one fight or
Well,
another.
no,
So, what?
well, one of the great
Aye,
things about Park Run is, and I saw the former Lord Mayor Tom Eakin, who's older than
aye,
you. He
is I?
volunteers at Queen's
Good.
every week,
Aye,
and I stopped and I said to him, Tommy, you
uh,
have to go in for your cup of coffee afterwards.
aye,
And he said, I'm famously antisocial. And I said, I know
aye,
that, but it doesn't matter
aye,
because the coffee afterwards is a
uh,
chance for people to get to know who you are. Because I'm the only
uh,
one that shouts, well done, former Lord Mayor, when we pass him. But the great thing
uh,
about Parkrun, the great thing about the running community, because I'm a
aye,
very late runner, I didn't start running when I was 40, at a
aye,
very, very low and very slow level.
aye.
It's a very welcoming community. And you must have seen it. You must have seen the numbers, like the numbers
Oh, they've
are
exploded.
incredible. They're incredible now.
Uh,
Wherever you're out, you know. So you
That's
must be
right.
very pleased with that to see that.
Very, very pleased. And it's a lovely sport. I mean, what's the most natural thing a child can do is run. And not it. So why not get people out, encourage them to run open air, make friends, all that sort of thing. But if you come down here, you'd know a Lord Andrew
Of
Muir,
course.
MLA, or
Okay,
Minister,
okay.
is this, likes Andrew and that. There's a lot of you
Too fast. He's too fast for me. Too fast for me.
crusty
Uh,
politicians,
yes.
Marcin, that
Yeah.
you'd enjoy it. How do you be?
Well,
They would love to see you down here.
listen, I saw John Glover, your
Aye,
co-accused, who's another driving
aye,
force behind the success of athletics, and I saw him
uh,
running. Saw him
right,
running last Sunday in the park. I think he had a medical team behind him. The medical team was
right,
close,
right,
but he was running it in good shape. But so look, I
aye,
want to finish by thanking you for a lifetime of service to sport, to
aye,
community, to people. I want to put on record the fact it wouldn't be a Spar Craic 10K on St. Patrick's Day at all if it wasn't for the welcoming approach that you adopted, the inclusive
thank
approach
you.
you adopted. It's in
Uh-huh.
this part of the world, a lot of people just say no and say, look, it's just too much trouble. But you just took the trouble to teach us how to run
Mhm,
an event on St. Patrick's Day, which is
mhm,
fun, which builds community, and which really celebrates the patron
uh-huh.
saint of all of us.
That's all.
So listen, thanks a
Hey,
million for all you do. Gurmai, thanks a million, David.
not at all. I'm glad to help. I think you and I were the midwives for that Craic 10K.
Well, a young lady called Conla, a young
And
lady called
Conla,
Conla as well.
that's right. Conla, you and I and Conla, we were the midwives, so we delivered that. And hopefully we'll see it mature.
Yeah, no, this is fantastic. So look, I think it's
Aye.
2015, so we're doing very well. But listen, thanks again.